everyone. Welcome to the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I'm Alexa Dath. This show is so special because it's all about you, the fan. You get to ask questions to today's special guest, Tigers catcher James McCann. And the way you can do that is by clicking on the button below to sign in or sign up to get in line to ask your question face-to-face to James. Or you can hit me up on Twitter using hashtag Chatting Cage. That way we can see your questions and also get them to James that way. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome James McCann to the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Hey, James, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. How are you doing?
Doing well. We got a bunch of fans here who are using the hashtag Chatting Cage to ask you all kinds of cool questions. The first one comes from KCaputo88, who wants to talk about the fact that you and your wife welcomed twin boys this offseason, and they want to know what's being a new dad been like for you.
Oh man, it's been the best thing in the world. I really, words really can't put the emotions into it all. Just from them being born premature to the time we spent in the hospital with them, and now getting them, home and being with us full time and watching them grow and mature. There's nothing better.
James, are you working on your dad joke game? Because you got to get that up before they can start talking, and you got to have the good jokes ready for them.
I think I got a few stored up, but I've got a few years to work on it, I think.
Okay, sounds good. We're here on the Edward Jones Chatting Cage talking to James McCann. We got a fan standing by to ask you a question. What's your name and what's your question for James?
Hey guys, my name is Alex, and just my question for James is, if you weren't playing baseball, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't playing baseball, what would I be doing? Well, I'd like to think that I'd be involved in the game somehow, whether that's as a coach, at the college level or at the pro level. But if you take baseball out of the equation, when I was a kid, I always thought it'd be cool to be a firefighter. So I think being a firefighter would be pretty neat.
Okay. Speaking of college ball, by the way, we got a question for you on Twitter. L. Walmack said, what's it like facing Razorbacks in the big leagues? Because now you were teammates with them, and then they're opponents for you now.
It's pretty fun. Facing Dallas Keuchel, Drew Smiley, seeing guys like that, just seeing teammates across the field at the big league level is pretty neat. Then of course I've hit a couple home runs off them, so I guess I've always got bragging rights, and that's pretty cool.
That's really all that matters. Hey, what's the better mascot, a Razorback or a Tiger?
Oh well, they're equal. They live in different parts of the world.
There you go. All right, sounds good. By the way, it's Friday the 13th. A lot of people have superstitions, and Kyle wants to know, do you have any superstitions or any sort of routines that you follow pregame?
I want to say superstition, but something I have to do before every game is I have to shower before I put on a clean uniform. You go from batting practice and sweaty and working out to putting on a clean uniform. There's just something about putting on a clean uniform. You got to be clean before you do that. All
right, sounds good. Yeah, people are into other people being clean, so that helps everyone in the clubhouse if you smell fresh and clean. All right, Rocco Sports wants to know on Twitter here in the Edward Jones Chatting Cage, how excited are you to see baseball return to the Olympics in 2020?
That's awesome. I think that was kind of heartbreaking to see baseball disappear from the Olympics when it did. Baseball is such a great game, and it's really being played around the world more than it ever has before. So the fact that it's coming back to the Olympics, I can't wait.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like the rest of us are super excited for it too. So I'm glad you are as well. Here in the Edward Jones Chatting Cage, we have our EDJ question of the day for you, James. How fulfilling was it to be part of Team USA back in 2011?
That was a dream come true. Wearing the USA across your chest and competing for your country. There's not a lot that compares to that. And playing against some of the best players in the world, there's nothing that compares. And the pride that goes to playing for the red, white, and the blue, there's something special about that.
It's awesome to be able to see everyone repping their countries, and the talent level that you see around the world is pretty impressive, so we love that. Here in the Edward Jones Chatting Cage, you are hitting us up on Twitter using the hashtag Chatting Cage. Natalie Martin 92 wants to know, James, who's the toughest pitcher you've ever caught?
The toughest pitcher I've ever caught? Oh, man. It's funny. A lot of people ask me, how hard it is to catch a guy like Verlander or Scherzer or David Price. But honestly, the better the pitcher, a lot of times the easier it is to catch him because they know exactly where the ball's going. They don't miss their spots. And so that when you see a guy that is as good as those guys are, it's usually easier to catch him The harder guys to catch are the younger pitchers that throw hard and may not know where it's going. I can't really think. One guy I guess I've caught in the big leagues that was tough to catch was Alfredo Simon. He seemed to just have a different feel for a game, and it was a little bit tougher to get on the same page as him. But after a few times catching him, we were able to get on the same page.
All right, sounds good. We got a fan question for you here in the Edward Jones chatting cage. What's your name and what's your question for James?
Hey, what's up, James? This is Andrew. Just have a question in terms of what are the keys to having a good relationship with your pitching staff?
That's a good question. Keys to having a good relationship with pitching staff. First thing is trust. One way that I try and develop trust with my pitchers is, they see me in the video room, putting in the time. They see me looking over the scouting reports, looking over numbers, and developing my own scouting report to help them have success. And when they see how hard I'm working to make them better, they get that trust. And then, in game, obviously, the harder you work behind the plate for them, and the more you work to receive strikes and get the extra strike call and block the ball in the dirt whenever they throw it there, that builds that trust, and over time, you build that relationship.
Man, you can tell that you're a baseball player through and through, man. It's really cool to hear. We got another fan who wants to ask you a question. That's the best part here of the Edward Jones chatting cage. What's your name and what's your question for James?
Name is Lou Flores. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to you, James McCann. How you doing today?
I'm great. Yourself?
I'm doing good, sir. Just want to take this time out, and I just wanted to ask you a simple question. How do you feel about your team's chances on winning the division this year?
How do I feel about my team's chances winning the division? Honestly, a lot of people talk about we're in a rebuild phase, and we started that last year with the trading of Verlander and Upton and Kinsler. But I really like our club. I really like the energy that we've brought. We're coming off a tough series with Cleveland. We played them tough, and ball just didn't bounce our way. I'm not ready to write off our team. I think that we're still right there. It's early. So I think we're going to surprise some people along the way.
We've got a couple of people on Twitter who are mentioning a couple of different things about you, but Jason specifically wants to know, do you think about your errorless streak at the moment? Is that something that enters your mind while you're playing, or no?
No, that was something special as I came into the league. Honestly, I wasn't really even thinking about it when it happened, and it wasn't until right around I was, breaking the record for a catcher coming into the league that people started talking about it. I take pride in taking care of the baseball. I take pride in making good throws and just controlling the game, and that's something that you can control on a daily basis.
Fans hitting me up on Twitter using hashtag #ChattingCage. Lions Nation 3 said, "What's it like playing for Ron Gardenhire?"
I love it. I had when I first broke into the league, I had Osmus as my manager. I went through a couple spring trainings with Jim Leland as the manager, and Ron Gardenhire has been nothing but a great skipper. His energy every day, the communication, just everything that goes into being a manager, he's excelled at so far for us. Yeah, longtime Twins manager, now over in your dugout. Pretty cool to see. Got another question for you here on the Edward Jones chatting cage. A fan wants to ask you something that's been on his mind for a long time. What's your name and what's your question for James?
Hey, James, this is Mike from Staten Island. What is the greatest accomplishment of your career so far?
Greatest accomplishment in my career? Oh, man. Making it to the big leagues is up there. Playing in the College World Series, that was a dream of mine in college, and then making it to the big leagues was obviously the ultimate dream. So I'd say that's a pretty great accomplishment. Just being able to play the game on the greatest stage in the world, that's I'd have to say that's a general statement as far as my greatest accomplishment. James, a couple people who are watching and hitting us up on Twitter using hashtag #ChattingCage want to know what your life is like away from the diamond. Christina Pino says, "What's the last TV show you watched?" The last TV show I watched? Well, I can honestly say we just got off I think an 8-day road trip, and I did not turn on my TV one time in the hotel room. but I do have to say that I do binge watch a little bit on Netflix, and my wife and I were watching The Blacklist right now. So that's got to be the last show I've watched.
All right, sounds good. Binge watching, that's the new thing, right? Everyone's into it. So hopefully you can recommend a couple more shows for all the fans out there on Twitter. James, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for participating here in the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Good luck this season, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks for having me on.
All right, and thank you to the fan for all of the fantastic questions that you sent in here on the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. We have Chatting Cages all season long, so make sure you tune in. I'm Alexa Dat. We'll see you next time.